Thank you. Senator Gallego.
Thank you, Chairman Lee and Ranking Member Heinrich, and thank you to our witnesses for being here. Thank you, Congressman Pearce, for coming by my office yesterday. Had a little hiccup with daycare, and it was very accommodating considering my daughter was running around like crazy as usual. But you know, you've heard it from some of our western states all today, and I'll give you the stat that everyone else has. You know, we have 12.1 million acres of BLM land. We're very, very, very lucky to have such a beautiful state, the most beautiful state in the country. Within this land, we have national monuments that highlight, you know, the beauty, the culture of the state too. Of course, one of the ones that we always talk about is the Grand Canyon and the ancestral footprints of such. And so, because of it's already been asked, but I have to do it as a home stater because this has been somewhat controversial, which when it comes to the Grand Canyon monument that has been ping-ponging back and forth. Love to make sure that, you know, there is still going to be support for that, and would like to know if you have any plans to roll back protections for the Grand Canyon.
Mike.
I think it.
Thank you, Senator, for the question, and I did enjoy the visit yesterday, and the daycare thing rings heavy, and this is nice. So the monuments are something I do support deeply, and understand the Grand Canyon. It's one of the most magnificent things, frankly, in the world. So we'll do whatever we can. I'll work with you any way that's necessary on that.
All right, thanks. And this administration has announced an initiative to build housing on federal lands with very little detail, and I think done smartly, especially as for rural Arizona, can be done in a way that could be very good to help the costs. But after the announcement, I actually asked the President and his administration for details on that, because I want to make sure what we don't happen is that the best lands get given away to the richest men and women, and they end up being, you know, the estates for them, and then we stop, you know, our communities from being able to access land that is important to fishing, hunting, camping, because that's usually the land that is the closest to the cities, but then it's also land that's most likely to be valuable. So we want to make sure that you know, anything going forward, I wanted to be thoughtful. I wanted to make sure that it is actually, you know, accessible to working class people. So I just want to, you know, make sure should you get in there, will you commit to providing the answers for these types of questions or inquiries, especially from, you know, U.S. senators?
Absolutely, Senator, and I've mentioned a couple of times today that on those issues of use of public lands in your state, I really look forward to working with each individual senator. That each state is going to be different, but then as far as access and working class people, my dad was at kind of the lowest level of the oil field. We had a 5-acre farm, and with 6 kids, we literally sold vegetables on the highway to make things meet. Yep. The only thing we had to do for vacation was to drive up to Cloudcroft and go through that national forest. That was our vacation. If we had a little more gas,
that is very true for a lot of people in Arizona too. So, you know, for me, it's important that BLM land, especially the ones closest to the cities, is not sold off to, you know, potential as trophy homes to billionaires. So hopefully, you know, what I'm trying to communicate to you is, like, I want to make sure that doesn't happen. You'll do everything in your power to make sure that doesn't happen. Lastly, you know, as a veteran, many of us use our public lands as basically public therapy, if you want to call it that, right? It's a great way to de-stress. It's a great way to think about what's going on in our lives. A lot of us will go camping together. BLM land is often the front yard for rural veteran communities. So how will you measure BLM's success in recreation and community benefit, not just in kind of production, such as like metrics such as leases, whether it's mineral leases or grazing leases?
Again, I experienced the same thing you're talking about when I got back from Vietnam, backpacking in California, some of the wilderness areas in the Gila, exactly what you're talking about. And I think that access is the key, and some public lands don't have very good access. My brother's in a wheelchair. That President Bush put him on the Commission for Handicapped Access, especially to our parks. I was co-chair of the National Park Subcommittee. We dealt with that issue a lot, and so access is extremely important to me for everyone, and especially you're talking about aging populations. They got to be able to get there if we're going to enjoy it.
Right. Thank you. I yield back.
Senator Hoeven.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Assistant Secretary of House,